Okay, so now we'll do the Photoshop stuff. I've got the exports here. So, I mean, obviously all the externals, you need to put blue skies in a situation like this without any blue skies. So open that up in Photoshop. So how I do the blue skies is I'll just trace the sort of the sky. Um, so I'm just targeting the sky and then not the buildings. Select the whites, delete it all, and then just pop a sky in. So I do this with it's called the polygon lasso tool. Make sure you're on the right layer. I mean, there will only be one layer at this point. And then you just click and sort of trace the click, click, trace the sort of the roof and don't have to be so accurate with it. We can neaten it up after if we need to. So there we go. We've traced um, the sky here. With lampposts and stuff, because they're grey, they can sometimes like get targeted along with the sky because that grey is quite similar to that grey. So I mean, up here, like this is kind of like add a selection. This is take away a selection. So if you can see my mouse here, I'm clicking this one, which is sort of take away from the selection. So I don't want to target the lamppost, so I'll kind of just trace it best I can. I mean, you don't have to be too fucking accurate with it. So that's kind of got rid of the lamppost, and I'm kind of targeting most of the sky. So next I go to select color range, and then this will bring up a new box, and then the whites is what you're selecting and the blacks is what you're not selecting. So you basically want to take the dropper thing and select like a white part of the image, and then the fuzziness kind of is like how much like exceptions it has, like how much of other colors it lets into what is targeting. But I mean, I'll usually have the fuzziness, I don't know, for here like around about like 20% or something. And you can see it's not targeting some of the sky here. I mean, this is a good example of a sky where like sometimes it's completely blown out, which is good. You just select the white and it selects everything, but sometimes it's got all these different shades of like gray and stuff in it. So then if you want to add to your selection with this one, that's the plus, and then you'll just target, like just click around the sky till it's targeting all the sky. Like here we're getting a lot of the building as well, but uh, we're not we've traced around the building, so it's not going to get like these parts of the building in it. And if it does get bits of the building, we can take it away from the selection. Might drop the fuzziness a little bit. I mean, the fuzziness, you kind of want it like reasonably high if you've got like bushes and things like that, so it gets in accurately around the bushes and it doesn't have like a white sort of outline around it. So I'll keep it reasonably high because it's got some sort of bushes, and especially if it's trees and you can see bits of sky through the trees and stuff, you want to have the fuzziness quite high. But I mean, because the fuzziness is quite high, we might get little bits of the roof in it. So then if you zoom in, like you'll see like there's these little white bits in the roof. So then we want to, again, like get the lasso tool and select like take away. So you want to take away, like see here at the edge, like it's just getting a lot of the roof because it's kind of grey. So I'm just gonna like trace the bits I don't want, and it will get rid of it. It might be hard to see on the phone there, but it's getting a lot of this roof in it, which isn't usually the case. But um, I mean, it's good that it's happening because I can show you how to get rid of it. So we're just gonna keep tracing it till we zoom in and just get so that we're not getting bits of the roof sort of deleted when we delete the sky. Um, so just go bit by bit. Double click kind of finishes it. So you click, 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 and then click, and then double click just joins it with the first point that you clicked. So double click and it's gone. Oh, I've got a bit of flipping, uh, bit of white here, so I'm just gonna. You don't need to be too accurate. Don't go crazy. Like I'd probably do it a bit more quickly if I wasn't sort of showing you how to do it. Um, So there we go, and the tracing here looks pretty good. So zoom back out, hit delete, and then there you go. And then I'll send you some skies. Obviously, my skies are here somewhere. I don't know. Sky 2. Drag it on. Resize it if you need to. It's nice with your skies to have a bit of white at the sort of horizon line. It just looks more less fake, sorry, than if just to do an example, if that was just, if it was just blue at the horizon, it just doesn't look as clean and natural as if you have a bit of, so that's why I've got kind of skies with like a white horizon. It just tends to look more natural. So yeah, so I would just go through the images, save over them one by one. So I'll do a couple skies, and then I'll just do tweaks to the interiors if it's needed. So again, lasso tool, trace the building. Like that building's quite white, so you want to be quite accurate tracing that. But I mean, I've got quite a steady hand doing this. It might be a bit more difficult for you to begin with. I've done it that many fucking times. Okay, so like I said, double click at the end to join it up. This chimney looks quite grey, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna, my selection is gonna get that. So again, I'm just taking that away from my selection. So now my color range won't target that. I mean, you might get these like bits of these like sort of deleted and stuff, but who cares? Like, you know, you're looking at the property, not that. So again, select color range. It saves your selection from the last time. So I mean, because it's the same sky, that looks like pretty good. So I'll just hit OK. But I can see again, it's getting, I mean, it's not as bad. Like you can see here, it's not getting parts of the roof, but on the top of the roof there, it's getting parts. So again, like take away from selection, target which bit of the roof it's getting. That'll do. Hit delete. Like usually it's that, you know, like you don't have to take away much or anything. It was just quite a bad example, the first one that we did. So popping the same sky in, because it's the same sort of angle of the building. Like you want to use different skies for different angles of the building. Like if it was the back garden, you might use a different sky. If it's looking towards the building, you might use a different sky. You know what I mean? But because this is the same sort of angle, I'm just using this, well, not angle, but looking towards the building, I'm just using the same sky, because the sky's not going to change that much between images, is it? So then I'll just kind of go through these images and see if there's something that needs sort of tweaking. I mean, that could maybe be brightened up a little bit, but this is Johnston, so I don't need skies in the windows, but maybe I'll do a sky in the window just to show you. I mean, this is a good example because it's got fucking blinds. Usually the skies in the skies in the windows are usually a lot more blown out than like the skies outside, just because you need to compensate more. So here we go. It's the same concept. Your lasso tool. I've got this like add to selection one selected, and then I'll just trace around. I think that's the horizon there, so I'm just gonna trace it. So that I've selected that part of the window, and I've got add to selection, so I'm going to select this part of the window. So now I've got that selected, and then finally this selection. I think the roof goes off here, so I'm just going to do that. And then again, select color range, and then I'll target the white. And this is where you might want to take the fuzziness down to get more of the blinds, less of the blinds, whatever. Because it's more blown out, it's not getting as much grey and stuff, so that should be pretty good. I mean, it's missing little bits here and there, but you know, you don't want to spend forever on the window. So again, hit delete, and then I'll add the sky in. So I've got a wee sky here, sky for window, and then sky for window, a lighter. Because it's quite blown out, I'm going to use the lighter one. So you want the brightness of the sky to sort of match the brightness of the exterior. So if I put the darker one in, oh, go away. If I put the dark one in, it'll look a lot more fake. You know, that looks super fucking fake. So you want the brightness to match the outside, so that's why I'm using the lighter one. And you'll see that looks a lot less sort of fake. And then just drag it to the bottom layer, okay? And if you need to brighten it up, you can go to filter, camera raw filter, and this is the same as what you use in Lightroom. You can sort of brighten it up, darken it, whatever. So if it's still not bright enough or too bright or too dark or you need it to be darker, you can do that, but I think that's pretty good. But anyway, I'll save that. I mean, it's Penny Lane Homes. I'm not going to do it to any of the other ones, but if it was Aberdeen Constantine, I'd do that to all the shots. So I'll just go through them, you know, maybe that could use a little bit evening out. So I'll show you what I do for like darker parts of the room. So in your toolbar here, if you go down to this one, you've got, I think default it would be set to dodge, but dodge and burn is what I use commonly in Photoshop. Like if you need to darken a part, you'd use burn. Set it to, up here, you'll see, if you can see my mouse, it says exposure. I have it set at like 20%. Like if it was set to 100%, it would be, when you click, it will just do too much. See that? But if it's set to 20%, you can kind of just gradually click at parts of the image you want to brighten up. But, you know, maybe it's just a tiny touch that just makes the image look a bit more complete, a bit more exposed, like a bit more like balanced. So that's why I kind of do this stuff. But you know, I might have not done that. I'm just kind of, for that one was quite slight. I'm just doing it for kind of your benefit. I might do it a little bit here as well. So just kind of brighten parts of the image up that just balance it a little bit more. You know, it's fine. And then these are the ones I was talking about in Lightroom, where you know you've got a dark part of the image, you might want to target and sort of brighten it up to balance it a little bit more. So that's what I'm doing with the dodge. You need to be careful not to kind of go too hard with it, because then it starts to look faker and faker and faker. So I think that's quite a nice balance. Save. Next one. Open with Photoshop. Again, if you're targeting part of the image you don't want to target, you can use your lasso tool again. It's sort of like, because you know your dodge might be leaking and brightening part of the image you don't want to target, you can sort of trace around it and use the same methodology to target part of the image you want to target. So then now I'm kind of just, so then when I brighten it, it's not brightening part of the image that I don't want to brighten. So it depends. Like I wouldn't really need to do it here. I don't think. I'll just, that's not too bad. Just doing it without targeting it. But sometimes you might want to be a bit more accurate with it. It's not too bad, I suppose. Go with that. Anything else? Is there any? I wish there was like a flash or something I needed to sort. I'm not. Right, pretend one of these light bulbs is like a bad flash or something. Okay, so which image was it? This one? Right, so pretend like this light bulb is like a bad flash, a bad reflection. You want to get rid of it. What you'll do is like zoom in, and then there's this tool here called clone stamp. So what that does is it clones part of the image that you select. So if you press Alt on the keyboard, that'll make your selection. So if I target this white here, it's gonna clone that white across, um, on top of wherever I click. I mean, I could click here and it's gonna add the white there. But I mean, I just want to just do that, and I mean that will get rid of it. It just like look really natural, like part of the ceiling and the light's gone. But I mean, if that was like a bad flash reflection on the cupboard or something, you could like clone like the part of the cupboard that's not been affected by the flash, and then just target it and copy it across and sort of cover it up the best that you can. Again, if this like it gets more, this is where your selections need to be good. Like you might need to do some selections because you might be getting rid of part of the cupboard. Like you might clone it and accidentally get rid of a bit of the handle, so you might want to target like the section where the flash is, so you're only affecting your selection. You're not like, you know what I mean, if like I can't like clone over the handles here and get rid of the handles. It's only letting me do stuff to what I've selected. So yeah, I think that covers like what I do with the images. I mean, I'll just go through and add skies to the garden shots, but I don't really think there's anything else to sort of tweak to these images. I think they're looking pretty good. I mean, maybe this is a little bit blue, a little bit purple. So I mean, if I wanted to make further changes from it, I could throw it back into Lightroom and just tweak it a little bit more. But yeah, sometimes having a like taking your eyes away from it and then putting your eyes back on it, you might be like, that looks a little bit too blue. That looks a bit like, but I think it's fair enough. I think it's mostly color corrected, not too bad. Yeah, there you go. That's sort of the workflow I do for photography.